Oh, crap. And I'm wrong. I love it.
Something about the
It is the sweetest name.
Somebody gotta hold these people accountable. The only way we do it is we explain day in and day out of the corruption that's going on in our own backyard. Sometimes you gotta deal with your own backyard before you can go questioning somebody else's backyard.
That goes to what the scripture says in the book of Matthew. When God says, how are you trying to take out the log in somebody else's eye when you got your own log in your own eye to take out?
Mm-hmm.
So fix your log before you fix somebody else's.
Right. And there can never be one person lying and conniving his way to the top, and this many people taking one person's word for it, covering over and over it again.
Don't do that again.
I can't believe I went through all these people. People that I haven't even met but know about my case and choose not to follow the ethical duty as far as protecting my rights as far as everyone else's. Is there such thing as equal protection, equal liberty, due process? So we're going to go into paperwork. Paperwork on how to run your court case through e-court. How to successfully see what's going on while you at home. I said that too, that these people manipulate and abuse the system by being at home. They don't necessarily got to be in court. Put it in that bag right there. Y'all please share. These are our leaders, our DAs, our attorneys, our DOJ, Department of Correction. I said Department of Correction. Department of Justice. Oregon State Bar, ACLU. All these people. Dang, Douglas Hanson put in a good favor. How much pressure do one person have to have? Of course, I won't use this case number. I like using mine for example. Anyway. Welcome to the Oregon Judicial Department online record search. If you are a public defender, attorney, any type of private attorney, DA, you have the ability to do exactly what I'm about to do. But you see up at the top right corner, it says sign in.
Okay.
I am not going to be signing in. I'm just going to be using the interface. So what I'm going to do, let's type in my case number. I'm not caring about the background noise. I own the copyrights to the kids in the background. You'll make a whole lot of noise, huh?
No. Come on. No.
It's kind of looking suspect until I click on the case number right here. 5/19/2014. Case is closed, but it's out of wicked Marion County. The Nightmare from Hell County. Dealing with those people. But what I will do is come up here to the people that actually charged me and the people that orchestrated the Black Slavery Act. Douglas Hanson, Gail Ryder, Susan Tripp, all in cahoots, all working in collaboration. You know, I always hear, you ain't the only black person that went through this. You ain't the only black person that's going through this. You ain't the only black person that they did this to. One thing I say is this to that. I'm the only black person that I know of that kept a full log of all of them. I'm the only black person that stood up and fought them with no help. I'm the only black person charged with an A felony, never went to prison on a mandatory sentence. I could go on and on and on about being the only black person to what they did, especially under the racial ethnic disparity problem, where 9 times out of 10, more than not likely, a person who sells drugs to a minor goes to prison. But Douglas Hanson, Susan Tripp, and Gail Ryder all in cahoots, and they all got an answer to a higher up court. They could try to block me at the Oregon Supreme Court because that's where they all known to be. I'm trying to push my case to the Washington Supreme Court because federally, once the feds look into the unethical misconduct done by these prosecutors, these private counsels, and these judges, that there's going to have to be some answering. And I wish people would stop saying all they going to do is kill me, because if that was the case, I should have been gone a long time ago. Spending 6 long years exposing Douglas Christopher Hanson has been my honor. And the reason why I say that is because I've spent many, many restless nights trying to figure this out, why nobody is seeing what this one person is doing to not just the Marion County DA's office. I pretty much dismantled the Marion County DA's office by filing complaint after complaint after complaint through the Oregon State Bar, and they have not done their they have not stood up to their ethical moral values. And what I mean by that, they haven't held one of their own, accountable. But I always thought Douglas Hanson was just this small-time prosecutor in Salem out of the Marion County DA's office. Little bit did I know, he actually have a non-profit organization, Hands Are Not for Hurting Foundation, that he actually pulls money from because it can't be audited by a state auditor. And this is how these people is cheating. Hey, no, stop it. This is how these people is cheating. You wonder, how do Matthew and Jessica Johnson know so much? One thing that I will tell you is that the prosecutor messed up when he allowed me and my wife Jessica to be back with each other. Even in Julie and Jody Fisher's own words, Douglas Hanson did not have the authority to do that. And I never one time remember Susan Tripp ever questioning me about my wife. If I could remember right, Susan Tripp said that she don't know anything about my wife. She don't know who I love. She don't know nothing about the case. All she knows is what the charges was. And Douglas Hanson claimed that he go after all of us. He go after the pimps. He go after the prostitutes. Well, Doug, the same thing I told you in the elevator when you illegally prosecuted me with using Susan Tripp as a bench trial judge when I asked literally for a jury trial. It's all through the paperwork that I asked for a jury trial over 3 years. That's violating due process. That's violating the 5th Amendment, the 14th Amendment. I could go on and on about all the amendments that Douglas Hanson has violated, but nobody ain't gonna listen to that. People ain't listening because they not going through it. They family ain't harmed by it. They family don't have pressures. They family don't have to keep going backwards instead of moving successfully forward into the future. They family have to struggle. My family do a lot of struggling behind the scenes because of these people and their different entities and how they perform it. Not only the people that charge me illegally, they like to add in their significant others, like Susan Tripp and Marjorie Kennedy and Douglas Hanson and Steve Burney. These four person duo have sat down and communicated off court record. And you know what's so funny is that they not including the attorney Gail Ryder in it. They did Gail Ryder's career so dirty at the end by illegally charging me that Gail Ryder went into early retirement. Gail Ryder. Now, who spends 6 years fighting for justice? They still, and the reason why I'm fighting for justice is because they still got me shackled. If you look up the federal law of shackling, you will understand what I'm talking about as far as shackling. They got me tied up at the Court of Appeals, and I'm appealing what's called the post-conviction relief, right? In my post-conviction relief was supposed to be the time where I was allowed to put on evidence. You hear Douglas Hanson in my original court audio transcript say that he do not do PCR. Now, I'm wondering, is that the reason why Douglas Hanson left the Marion County District Attorney's Office in order to orchestrate and control the outcome of my appeal? Because what it's looking like is that's what this man is doing. I'm by far a dummy. I'm not only dealing with the illegal conviction, I'm dealing with the aftermath of the illegal conviction as far as them actually charging me with predatory sex offense charges, which carry a lifetime of registry, which I don't even meet the requirements. I've done taken they polygraphs. I done taken they sex offender risk assessments, and another thing that Douglas Hanson in trouble about is all this is illegal due to the violation of ORS 40.255 subsection C of that section, which is a husband-wife privilege. Neither me or my wife can turn on against each other during our marriage or testify unless one of us signs some consent paperwork. And Douglas Hanson, Susan Tripp, and Gail Ryder most definitely cannot produce this information. Now, a lot of people don't realize that a lot of my I got a private investigator. I do. The best private investigator in the game. Because when this private investigator give us information, we sit on it and we think about how to actually put it out there, how to actually produce it to the public. Now, it's crazy as it sounds. I'm like that book of Samuel. I'm like the little boy Eli. I keep hearing this voice calling to me. I keep on going, and finally, someone put the Bible back in my hand, and I go and I read about this book, and I begin to understand the path that God really got me on. Is it my faith that I've made it this far? Yes. Is it by faith? Is it by not letting go? Yes. Because if you don't trust in God, then you wouldn't be able to produce the evidence. Now, these people, these three different entities, the Marion County DA's office, the private defenders, because I went through what's called MCAT, Marion County Association. Now, when I looked them up, everything has changed because Douglas Hanson is trying to clean up what I put out there. The more and more that I talk about his illegal conviction and his corruption, he go back and try to clean it up, which should send off a red flag to somebody working in any of these departments, which is the Department of Education, the Department of Health, all these little spots. But what we want to do is talk about the Oregon Judicial Department online records, and I'm going to get to that. So you will see the interface like this, and what we're going to do now is click on the case number. Even though my case is closed, I still am able to look at the transactions that happen through judicial court. As you can see, it's a felony charge for case number 14C4686 out of Marion County. Offense closed. And you gotta when I go over doing this, I've gotten so good about how we share our information. What do we do for the public to have a better understanding of how one of their loved ones is actually going through the judicial court, and they have what's called representation by a person or an entity that is working on the opposite side, and when I say that is that these public defenders and district attorneys do talk about your cases over lunch. They talk about your cases over a phone call. They will and deal with your case. Hey, if you let me win the next 3 cases, I'll let you win the next 2. It just depends on the situation, on the case, on the facts. Now you will see that actually in my case, when the public look it up, Douglas Hanson's name is off of everything. There's the leading DA, Julian Jody Fisher. She's not even at the Marion County DA's office no more because of her illegal corruption, is what I would say, during the time that I was on the probation. And I get into that because the paperwork must add up to your court audio transcripts. When you have paperwork and you see your case, it's going to give you a breakdown right here. And my breakdown was delivery of oxycodone and promoting prostitution, which is 2 illegal cases that's on me, and I'm actually appealing those cases, and I'm being shot down. And we all know how the judicial system works. They don't want to be caught in violation, especially for violating the United States Constitution. See, you got the Oregon State Constitution and you got the United States Constitution, which is the Oregon Constitution. Oregon State Constitution is adopted. So they are governed, and they are allowed to govern their own state, is what the feds is saying here. So when we think about what the state is doing, I give big shout out to our new DA Mike Schmitz. He have a hard task upon him, and he's putting forth every effort in making sure that people understand that he's not the same as his constituent party. And what I mean is that these district attorneys are allowed to sit on certain boards that the public don't know about, like the Department of Public Safety and Standards, where all POs are licensed, and all those type of people, like the probation and parole officers, all that stuff account. You have to know your paperwork. I tell people this all the time. You could ask me, and I'm not no lawyer or nothing. You could look at me as if I'm this person that don't know what I'm talking about. But it's about the paperwork. It's about producing paperwork. It's about showing what they will say is a preponderance of evidence, right? So again, I had two charges. Now you see right here on 7/9/2015, right? That's basically when Douglas Hanson forced me into the plea bargain. Now, you have to be able to break down your paperwork too, because just because it looked like this don't mean it's the truth, right? And the reason why I say that is because they will put paperwork up there to make the public believe that what they saying is the truth, because a person looking your charges up ain't gonna actually investigate. Did they give that person due process? Did the person actually waive away his or her preliminary hearing rights? What was the district attorney's position? All you're gonna see is their paperwork. Hey, he admitted to it, so we found them guilty of these two charges. The judge name, and what's going on here is that this is actually building up a record for them, like a prosecuting record. Like, oh, that's another win on Susan Tripp's record. So therefore, when she runs for Honorable Susan Tripp, that position, which she's in right now, then the people will elect her. It's funny, but that's how they get down, right? So when you want to look up yo case, a typical defendant ain't gonna know what statutory provisions is. They use words that normal defendant don't even know about. Like Tripp once told me, "You're not schooled." I wish she could talk to me now, 6 years later, so she could really see how schooled I am and how thorough of investigation I did. Like Pastor Hawkins would tell me, you got a lot of Cornell notes, and your Cornell notes set you apart from everything people saying they been through and what they going through. And this is the thing. I have fought a long battle. So if you look at this situation, right? I supposedly have sold drugs to a minor. I also promoted a prostitute. That's the charges. So the first charge that I would say, going back up here to the delivery charge, if you look up a delivery charge, and I'm going to put that charge on the side here. You'll see ORS code for this. You're not going to see no paperwork at all. Sorry, I'm typing in something over here. Oops. So, I'm still here. Bear with me. You know, when somebody research so much, they take it, they change stuff up. So I have to go around it 4-7. 475 830. I'll teach y'all some game right here. So what we're looking at is that delivery charge right here. Unlawful delivery of oxycodone within 1,000 feet. And the prosecutor, Douglas Hanson, have to he can pick and choose what to charge to me, because that's what he did. He claimed that it was called a constructive delivery, but I see no such thing over here when we look up the penal codes, right? So he charged me with this charge right here. So there's no other charge that he gave me. There's no other charge that he dropped. There's no other charge that I had besides this charge. And to make sure that you guys know that, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing right here as far as right, I need to see that. And I gotta go over here to my information folder. And my information folder is like basically all the complaints and who I'm looking for at this specific time is Amy Bailey. Amy Bailey report. It should be somewhere in here. And everything I got is organized. Everything, every little thing that I have. So it's easy for me to get to. As you can see, Amy Bailey is the Department of Corrections, right? So when we talk about having the information ready, I'm going to move this out of here now. And I'm going to slide that window over here that I just opened up. Let's make it down to sides. Basically, my Cornell notes. I'll make it bigger for you. And that's what I mean about having the paperwork for the Oregon judicial system is that what I'm really looking for right now is the indictment to show you that Douglas Hanson only charged me with one charge. Well, is it in Amy Bailey's? I actually pulled up the wrong one. So what I want to do is bring this back to you, and then I want to just go into my public defenders folder. Now, I never seen a person with this many public defenders, but hey, you're not the only black person that go through this. That's the word here, right? So what I want to do is go to Douglas Hanson indictment. Who would I find that with? As you can actually find it with all of them, but I want to click on Ron Channing Newich folder. Let's click into here real quick. And what I'm showing you is the e-court paperwork, which is what this judicial department, the Oregon Judicial Department, right? But what they're not showing you is that I'm under two case numbers. When you doing an appellate case, that don't pop up, which says that the case is completely closed out. But actually, I went and did what was called an appeal. A direct appeal. And I'm just going to leave this up right here. A direct appeal. Right? Now, one thing that I will say about this right here is that I had... Let me see if I could find it. I'm looking at two screens trying to do this. I wanna touch on this right here because if you look at how turn that light off right there. You got the window open. See what I'm concerned with all of this is that the reading of this. The Court of Appeals has limited authority to review a sentence from a guilty or non. Hold on. Let me take a deep breath. Yeah. This is something I have to back up and talk about real fast. It's because I want people to know when they take a case of a no contest plea or a guilty plea, it's the same thing. And when you do that and you stipulate on top of that, then you giving up all your rights. And what you doing is actually protecting the prosecutor from any illegal doings. It's called irregular prosecution, prosecutorial misconduct is what it's called. Again, prosecutorial misconduct. And that's one thing that I would touch on here is because in this section right here where it says guilty and no contest plea, basically what Douglas Hanson, Susan Tripp, and Gil Ryder did was cover themselves from any civil suit. It says the Court of Appeals has limited authority to review any sentence from a guilty plea or a no contest plea. Here are some general principles. The Court of Appeals will only consider whether the trial court complied with the requirements of law imposing sentences, whether the sentences exceeded the maximum allowed by law, and whether the sentence is cruel and unusual punishment. And that's where I really beat Douglas Hanson at, is that he charged me under a cruel and unusual punishment. Oregon Revised Statute Code, and they like to use these Oregon Revised Statute Codes imposed over a formal objection, right? So further, further, the courts of appeal will generally review only sentences that the trial court imposed over a formal objection. What does that mean? What does that mean? I'll tell you exactly what that means. Is that if the DA put on falsified information and your public defender know that it's no good, right? And you tell your public defender that, hey, that's what the DA is putting on, that ain't mine. He can't use that. It's your public defender's job to object to it. Say objection. And if the judicial judge, if the judge, right, don't hear it, then you preserve that right for a later chance. And they did this to me several times. No, not one of my public defenders objected to anything that was thrown out there illegally. Additionally, Court of Appeals cannot, listen to this part right here. I know I do a lot of reading. Additionally, the Court of Appeals cannot review a sentence that is produced of a stipulated plea, which means an agreement upon plea and sentencing, right? So when you look up that Oregon Revised Statute Code, there's no way that I stipulated, because if I stipulated to Douglas Hanson, Susan Tripp, and Gil Ryder's plea, how the hell did I get through the appeal process? How am I even under appeal? How am I still fighting the appeal? How am I this far? Nobody wants. So what I really wanted to get to is the initial indictment. Now, when we talking to you about the judicial department and e-court and how to look up your case and what to look for, you also got to be able to understand the language of the paperwork. Now you can't see this, but I'm gonna try to potentially, let's see, what we're trying to do is see what that date is, since the DA actually minimizing it down and forced e-court to accept an illegal piece of paper. And I touch on this a lot because people need to realize that the DA's office ain't got your best interest. Their job is to solely prosecute you. So if you look at it, says a verified original date, and the case cannot be all entered in on the same date, Douglas Hanson. And if you look at Douglas Hanson's paperwork, get off that window now. If you look at Douglas Hanson's paperwork, you will see this right here, and I want to try to get it a little bit more. And you still can't see it, so it says verified original of. That's not actually a good. You can't see it, but where I'm gonna tell you that is because I took a magnifying glass to this thing to get the date, is that Douglas Hanson entered the date in on December 8th, 2014. He entered the whole case in, right? And what I want to point out with this indictment, even though this is how I know this indictment is corrupted and illegal, is because look, it's all being orchestrated out of the Marion County DA's office. I want to get a full sides of it right here. Let's just go to the full sides, right? Let's look at this. And what I wanted to talk to you about, in order to charge somebody with a charge and get that person to take a deal, you got to drop a charge to keep a charge, Doug. What charges did you drop? What charges? If your original indictment only lists 2 charges, where's the compelling to dismiss that to charge me with promoting? Where is the unlawful possession to drop that to charge me with the delivery? These is the charges that you said that you charged me with, Doug. You know, and the thing is, it's not rocket science to see that this paperwork is illegal right here. Douglas Hanson's name is on it. He forged the jury. There's no jury. And when I talk about the grand jury real quick, because the prosecutor have a broad discretion, and I'm starting to understand why the prosecutor's office have this much power, is because not only do they actually get to bring the charges against you, they actually get to instruct the jury, the members, of what to bring. I found out that the jury is the grand jury proceedings happen at the Marion County DA's office, right where Douglas Hanson is. And if you look at this, and if you compare the indictment information to the court audio transcripts, which Douglas Hanson used a retired judge to try to steal the court audio transcripts, which he can't do. And what I'm saying to them is, once you give me a chance to go in front of a real judge that will see this crap. Y'all been getting away with it. When I say they have been getting away with this for a long time, this is before me. I'm just one of those stubborn inmates. I was just one of them stubborn defendants that said, hell no, I know the law, I know what they doing is wrong, and they are not going to get away with this. So when you think about what a delivery case is, and we got to make sure it's the same penal code, so that's why I actually did that. And if you look right here where it says Oregon Revised Statute Code, it says 1175832. See, and I've been giving you the wrong penal code. This is for hydrocodone. I have oxycodone. So what we do is we enter in 47. Oops. Sorry. What is it? 475.832. You hit enter on that right there, and it's unlawful. And this is where Douglas Hanson charged me with. And this prosecutor, Douglas Hanson, right, he's so illegal that he forget that other people knows what they doing. Other people understand the system. Just because I had been tagged defendant didn't mean that I lost the knowledge and the investigative skill that I had to be able to aid and assist in my own defense which I passed the mental health evaluation. Thank you, by the way, David Sweet, out in Salem, Oregon. I like to use their information right back on them because that's what they put me through. They put me through a lot. I've never seen this, but we're going to get through this. It says it is accept as authorized, and I ain't gonna read those penal codes. What I will do is jump down to right here, because if I read you ORS, then it's just gonna sound like a, So it says it is unlawful for any person to deliver an oxycodone within 1,000 feet of a real property conspiring a public or private elementary, secondary, or career school attended primarily by minors. Unlawful delivery of an oxycodone within 1,000 feet of a school is a Class A felony. Class A felony. It's a Class A felony. And a Class A felony is the highest felony on the felony chart. And you mean to tell me, Doug, as a mandatory sentence on the grid, you didn't send me to prison for this? You just threw this charge on me, right? So what I wanted to do is look at the actual reading of the law, right? It is unlawful for a person knowingly and intelligently to possess a controlled oxycodone unless the oxycodone was obtained directly from or pursuant to a valid prescription order, which I did have, right? I had a valid drug prescription. And this is why this charge can't stick on me, is because basically what Douglas Hanson was saying is that my doctor was a drug dealer. I want to give y'all the truth. Law. What is it? What is it? What does the law say about this? It's a class felony. But I want to. And if you look on the site, you can look your case up. You can do it. It's possible for us to help each other. Put a stop to the corruption. But what I want to do is, no, I want to look for that, because she charged me with that. What I want to actually show y'all is what this charge carry and how it ties in to being a child abuse offense. I have to cheat real quick. I had to go get a cheat code because I want to just move on through this. As I direct this, y'all will initially get to see me orchestrating this. Actually, let me turn my live me on there. Since everybody want to see me, and the reason why I'm not in is because I got. And you're my mom and I'm not having it. It's alright. Don't trip. We order some furniture. So, but what I want to do is, I'm looking at the Douglas Hanson file, and what I got here is all his penal codes, and I'm actually looking at it from the second screen. But I want to kind of speed up the process by digging in on the penal codes. So it's unlawful delivery of an oxycodone 47830. 47830. And where we want to get to over here, 47830. Which was the top one. I had to go all the way upstairs just to go here. See, so basically, these two charges go with each other. And what I want to do to tell people is that over here on the indictment, both of these charges is supposed to go on there. Unlawful delivery of an oxycodone and unlawful delivery of an oxycodone within 1,000 feet of a school. They both run hand in hand. So what I'm gonna do is go right into this with you. Get it. So unlawful delivery of an oxycodone. Remember, on my indictment, it's an A felony. It's an A felony. You see that right there. We already went over that. So now we about to get into why it's an A felony. Why the prosecutor charged me with an A felony. Because notwithstanding subsection 3, right here, notwithstanding subsection 2 of this section, which is this, when they say notwithstanding subsection 2, and this where you read unlawful delivery of a oxycodone is a class C or class B felony, right? They said in my case, notwithstanding subsection 2 of this section, unlawful delivery of an oxycodone is a class A felony if the delivery is to a person under the age under 18 years of age. So basically, Douglas Hanson charged me as if I sold these pills to this child person, right? And Susan Tripp should have been aware of that. Susan Tripp should have said, well, who is this child that he sold these drugs to if y'all say he was found hiding in his closet? So it just go into showing you how rude this man Douglas Hanson is. Now I like to control his picture while I'm on here because I run the whole thing, right? It's taken me 6 years to figure these people out. And when I tell you I figured them out, they know I figured them out. They know it, and they blaming buddy boy Doug. They blaming him like what did you do to this Matthew Johnson kid, Doug? This is what he did, and what we're gonna do is explain what he did. He used falsified documents. He used illegal evidence. If in my paperwork it says evidence got dismissed once the indictment came in. Look at this man's indictment. Somebody should share this. Somebody should share this solely because the prosecutor went way, way, way outside of his limits here. He forged the grand jury. He forged that. Douglas Hanson, and what I want to do to show you what I mean by him forging the grand jury is I give you a little piece of, yeah, we're going to put that right here because you see I got all 8 pictures, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to go up to my folder. Everybody got a folder. Yeah, everybody, including me. I run my own fingerprints. I do the whole thing. I do everything. I got my court audio transcripts. So what we want to do is get to this indictment right here. What I'm talking about. Here, let me move this over. I don't want to cover your face, Doug, because you need to be held accountable. I'm looking through the camera and I'm talking directly to you, Doug. Ain't that what you like to be called? Until you retire, till they not allow you to practice law, until they kick you out of the Department of Justice from allowing you to go in certain entities and manipulate certain paperwork. I'm just going to keep on sharing the message. I'm just fighting for justice. I am exercising my First Amendment right to the United States Constitution. Freedom of press, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Something that you violated me for using private parole officers and probation officers, which I will add on to as being second chance POs. So they already was in like this phase where they couldn't, let me say, mess up because I don't want to cuss. So here we go. Since all of us been through it, how many of you could do the same thing that I'm doing right now? Now this is 5/19/2014, my initial arraignment day.
Just one file on Johnson?
Just one felony? No.
No, I have, Your Honor.
You hear Julian Fisher? No, I have, Your Honor. So what we trying to see is what these charges is. Let me slide this up. Is there a felon on previously? Let's just break this down.
Counsel in another case?
Did I have counsel in another case? Could you be talking about my wife case? Could you be talking about stealing paperwork from the prostitution citation? I've never seen any officer gang evidence from a prostitution citation.
Well, if he doesn't have a counsel already, it'll be carried away.
See, I didn't even have a counsel, but Douglas Hanson claimed that I waived the preliminary hearing right. But you hear them say that. But what we looking for is the charges. Give us the charging instrument.
So the name caught my eye, but it's a different.
How did I catch your eye and I'm not from Salem, sir? How?
Case will be assigned to Kerry Wineland, Your Honor.
Case will be assigned to Kerry Wyland.
Right?
Let's listen to this, because this is where they initially supposed to put on the charging instrument. Since they said I waived away my
Apparently acknowledge
preliminary
receipt of the
indictment.
information in 14C 46286. Mr. Johnson indicates that
Hold
he is
on.
correctly named. His date of birth is also correct. Will waive any further reading or other advice of rights and seek Mr. Johnson's release.
Seek my release.
All right, Ms. Wakeman?
Your Honor, we're asking the court to set $50,000 bail.
Well,
Defendant,
where's
according
the
to the
bail?
reports, is a pimp for his wife.
Uh-huh.
When caught in a hotel room, because his wife is getting hooked. Defendant is there with $1,200 on him and oxycodone, 50 plus pills.
50 plus
He
pills.
has texts that discuss selling drugs.
I have texts.
He is a B on the grid with a prior robbery 2 where he went to prison for 70 months and a 2010 unlawful use of a weapon where he went to prison for 20 He was sentenced to 25 months. I'm wondering if he also has a parole hold.
Did you show those charges when you looked Mr. Johnson up? I don't show a parole hold.
And
this is-
I don't show a parole.
And this is
Did
why
you show
Marion
those
County
charges
is
when you
in
looked at them?
violation for the 22 wrongful days that I've served
Can
on
you give us the
them.
case number from the?
Give them their case number.
And it could be that his parole is done, but I don't think so.
Oh, no, you know.
09
Stuttering.
32
Why does it take you so long to read off a case
It's a
number and
Multnomah
you looking
County
right
case.
at it? Because you know I was off of parole. And you convinced this judge that my prescribed medications I was trying to sell, which our evidence saying was found in Jessica's
Mr. Johnson
purse.
indicates that he has completed his.
I told them I don't have no parole. I'm
Okay.
off of that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, standard bail is 50,000.
Standard bail is 50,000. Why didn't it make it on the indictment?
Kerry Wineland.
Kerry Whiteley. Who is that? Chestnuts roasting
Your Honor, we asked for a
on.
preliminary hearing on May 27th with a return to court for arraignment should an indictment issue on May 29th.
Right. Preliminary hearing May 27th. May 29th. Arraignment on indictment if one should issue. 8:30 in the morning.
So my question to Douglas Sampson: how did I waive a preliminary hearing? How did I waive a right that was granted to me? You know what I'm saying? You sit up there and you thought, like I told you in the elevator, you're not going to get away with this. I'm not the typical type of defendant where you could sit up there and play with my life. It was your turn then, Doug. It was your turn then when you had all the power until they cut me off of parole in May 2nd, 2017. I didn't even finish out your probation term because I was not abiding by your rules. I would tell them, take me to jail then. Take me to jail. Keep on constantly taking me to jail. So here, my thing with you here, Doug, since we're talking about this indictment, right, that you fabricated, that you forced upon me, that you signed. It's your handwriting. Look at the loops. Look at this signature. Any handwriting specialist, you did this out of fear. The court, the clerk of the circuit court, we called this indictment in. We called them, and there ain't nothing you can do. The judge never signed this indictment. You said that this indictment was in what date? He said it was entered in on 12/8/2014. Well, according to the court audio transcripts, y'all forced the indictment to be on me during Nellie Wright and Susan Tripp, and I'm gonna get into that once I bust you up and Kerry Wiley, because when they ask you guys about 60 days. How we doing on the 60 days? And my public defender, Kerry Wyland, answer for you, Doug. That was a big problem. And I'm the type that's going to play my court audio transcripts, because now what's happening here is that I've uncovered corruption in a major way, right? And I could tell this story over and over again. When I first started, I was sick. I was taking medication. I was trying to get myself together. And you know, by the grace of God, the medications that they was putting me through and prescribing to me, God allowed me to stay healthy in that. You know what I'm saying? But we talking about the indictment, the Oregon judicial system, how you look at your paperwork, who's the prosecutor actually prosecuting the case. What do you get out of, like, what do I get out of exposing Douglas Hassett besides my lights cut off, being homeless, police at my door? I don't really get really no credit for actually making that man take a back seat where he belong. He belong in jail. That's where he belong. I feel sorry for Gail Ryder, because they got her hidden out so that way she can't tell the truth, right? So we get on to what's called Rule 7. They constantly tell me Rule 7. So 5/19 is my original arraignment date, right? So now I'm going in on 5/29 when this indictment's supposed to happen. The indictment is supposed to happen within 72 hours of an arrest. The DA, the prosecutor, it's not something that I'm making up. It's the rules. It's the law, Doug. It's the law. You cannot hold evidence and investigate somebody and then file these charges illegally. You can investigate somebody if they doing something illegal, but you never found anything of me illegal in any of your investigation. You even use both of the probation officers to make up wrongful ads for my wife, and I've kept track of that, Doug. And I'm telling you, when the people see what you have done, Douglas Hanson, you're gonna be feeling ashamed. And like, I am gonna for sure write what's called the victim impact letter to you, Douglas Hanson. And it would be my honor to question you about the victim impact letter. You know, certain people, certain victims can't stand up with the courage to talk to you, Doug, but I'm their voice. I'm going to speak out not for myself, but for all the people that you damage, especially for the young man that you illegally investigated through Facebook, and you end up charging him with a murder charge. And now that young man has lost his whole career in football. You took a lot of things away from people, and it's time that you be held accountable for your unethical misconduct. Now, you got friends in high places, and I'm aware of that. Douglas Hanson, Department of Justice Hanson. Not only that, I'm aware of you guys rehiring no other than Arias Johnson back at the Marion County Public Defense Office. It's quite funny how the leading director of DOJ is now low maintenance attorney, is what I would call it, especially working in Marion County. Y'all spent several years telling me that the man moved out and went down to California and opened up a law firm, but then when I look him up, he's actually working for you guys, you know. And this is a man, Arias Johnson, that was the director at the time, and back in December of 2014, him and Attorney General called me and told me that, Mr. Johnson, your case have no merit to it. Well, if my case have no merit to it, why does it keep coming to your office, Ellen Rosenblum? Why are so much of your paper, your name is on all the paperwork here? Your name is even on this paperwork. If you really look at the paperwork, it's the Attorney General's office. When you file in the Office of Public Defense, this is all like copied and paste on there. Copied and paste. That's why I can, and I didn't do this, they did it. You know what I'm saying? They put it on there. I'm trying to click on it, and it'll tell you where their location is by their number, off of their paperwork. Who's actually the company, the telephone number, the organization, like all that. And people got to be aware of the hidden things that's in the paperwork. You got to be aware of all of that. Well, I shouldn't be doing that, letting y'all see my contacts, but hey. So there's a lot of things that I'm spilling my guts about, but I'm still going to get back to that indictment, because what we talking about is exposing this indictment. If I can show proof, the case. Hold on, let me take. The case is illegal for the sole purpose of the fact that the indictment ain't even real. If the indictment is fake, then the case is fake. And all that you put me through, and all the slander and defamation, and all the federal statute codes that you violated, and all that, Douglas Hampton, you will be held accountable. Now, this your signature. This is you, right? And what I did was I tried to go, when I researched Douglas Hampton, I tried to find a picture that shows that he's caught. He like, oh shit. The public caught me. Yes, we've been watching you for a very long time. Buddy boy, we've been watching you for quite some time, Doug. And it's quite obvious that Susan Tripp's office, Lawyer Baker, tell on you about how you initially made this indictment real. They like to use this certified stamp right here, right? So basically what I'm saying about the certified stamp is that once the e-court accepted, it'll give this little stamp where you could just run the barcode and it'll take you straight to the paperwork, right? But Douglas Hampton paperwork, he cannot be. This is what makes it a prejudiced, racist case, is because Douglas Hampton is the grand jury. He is, in fact, you could call the DA's office and ask them anything about the Matthew Johnson, Jessica Johnson case. They ain't gonna talk to you. They being instructed to not even talk to the public about the case. They sealed the case. And you know what's so funny is Douglas Hampton, you was never in court. Let's show you. See, my case, it really don't matter about my case here. You know what I'm saying? Because the whole situation that Douglas Hampton have created is all fake. It's all of it is fake.
Your Honor, this is Mr. Matthew Johnson's time and place.
Where is Carrie Weiland?
I have notes from Miss. This is a case that Miss Weiland has been appointed to. She would like to come back on this matter on the 4th day of June at 8:30 a.m. for a Rule 7. She will. Mr. Johnson will continue to waive preliminary hearing.
That's a
until
lie.
That time, and I would.
I don't know who Carrie Weiland was.
Received an offer.
How you gonna receive an offer
and we received
with no
some
police
discovery, including a
report?
probable cause statement, but we haven't yet received a police report
That's
in this matter.
how is that
The
possible?
reason you haven't is because she didn't waive prelim last time.
What?
She set it for
Never
hearing,
waived
which was
it.
supposed to have occurred on the 27th, and we're supposed to be here today on arraignment. So,
Right.
what's the status of that?
I don't know. What's the status?
Well, unfortunately,
This may have been a day when Miss Wyman wasn't here, and we went ahead and set them, and she was to contact the DA and take them off if that's what she wanted to do, her and her clients. So I don't.
Her and her client.
It does look like there's emails in here.
Julian Fisher?
Prelim,
Okay.
So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to throw you a curveball. It's just
I
we
understand,
set
Your Honor.
preliminary hearing dates, and so I presume that was a day when she wasn't here when we made the assignment, and
So look at this
the option that she
corruption.
could waive prelim once she had a chance to talk to the clients.
And that's something she prepared to do.
All right.
And Your Honor, and Mr. Griffith, the discovery is at the office.
You're lying,
Report.
Julian
The
Fisher.
yeah.
okay, wonderful, thank you.
You're lying. But what I'm gonna do is take you back up to the cover of this, where it says Julian Jody Fisher. Now, in my court audio transcripts, which I want y'all to see right here, Julian Fisher, right? Julian Fisher is playing a double face. She's two-faced it. This is the real definition of a two-faced DA. Julian Jody Fisher. You see, that's why they put her back on there. But Douglas Hanson is claiming that he's the one that prosecuted this case, right? So what we doing is breaking down this so that way our public know that there's people out here fighting for them. You know, you don't have to go and stress with all these questions to a public defender who don't have the best interest for the safety of your loved one. That they are playing in a game where it's a slavery act, you know, and they get paid every time they prosecute or don't prosecute. If they take you long enough through the court system, then they make money off of that, and it's a white collar crime on our people, and that's why they call it a racial disparity problem. But we don't have enough people, we don't have a community intel that will actually question these DAs the way that I would question them. As far as like the DOJ, Attorney General, right? William Barr. You know how Trump is actually trying to force him to create what's called a special counsel to investigate Joe Biden's son and da-da-da. Well, what I'm saying to the public, to our county legislators, to our county commissioners, to our lawmakers, to the Lou Fredericks is, what do you do when you got a person like me exposing the fact that a DA is taking advantage of approval money out of the biennium budget in order to prosecute people illegally because they name and they reputation inside of that, and then on top of that they cut you off and they bind you and they won't let you get to those right people that will potentially help you, because sometimes you come across people that say, no, we ain't gonna let Douglas Hanson do this to you. So Julian Fisher claimed that Julian Fisher was the lead attorney, but all the paperwork have Douglas Hanson's name on it. Everything is done by Douglas Hanson taking accountability of it. So what we're looking for here, and I'm saying this, is that this paperwork that the public see is not real. The prosecutor, Douglas Hanson himself, is actually, that you see right here, he actually took advantage of the office personal gain. He manipulates a lot. He actually knew that I was a mandatory on the criminal grid. What I'm talking about, the criminal grid, we get out of that and we go into the Johnson case. And what I do is I go down to the information. And what I'm about to show you with Douglas Hanson cheating the system. He cheats the system. He want to take credit for things, but he put people in front of him and then he'll take the credit last minute. He's cheating on prosecutions. He sent in other DAs, and then when those DAs come back, those rookie DAs, he say to them, what happened at court today in that Johnson case, what was said, what, and then he take those mental notes and he know when to appear in court and when not to appear in court. Like I said, I never waived away my preliminary hearing rights. Like I said, that means that I asked for a fast and speedy trial, which I never got. That violated my due process, and it also violated my human rights. Y'all did a lot. Y'all kept me as a prisoner for 22 odd days, and the Marion County Jail knew about it, but they was not understanding why I kept being lodged into a jail with not having actual charges on me, because Douglas Hanson once had a partnership with Ryan Dunbar with the Marion County Sheriffs. I don't even know if Ryan Dunbar still worked for the sheriffs. He probably retired like the rest of them. So I want to talk about this real quick, and I'm gonna move this out the way so y'all can see what I'm doing. Ever seen an actress on the floor? She ain't flying line the wall. You ain't did none of it. So here, what you get is the Oregon Sentencing Guideline. A lot of us criminals don't know what this means. We see it from time to time, but we don't actually know that it's actual charging instrument for all DAs throughout the state of Oregon. I don't care if you in Cooks County, Marion County, Benton County, Lane County, Multnomah County. All these counties have to abide by the rules that's adopted from the Department of Corrections, and this is called the Oregon Sentencing Guideline grid. On this grid, actually on the backside of this grid, it tells you the crimes, the penal codes, the Oregon Revised Statute codes, I should say. So right here, what you're looking at is the yellow, the green, the blue, and the pink. These are broke down by your criminal episodes, by your criminal history, if you're a first-time offender, and so forth. You get my drift. Now, if you it actually give you down here, right here, is what we're looking at is the criminal history categories, right? The criminal history categories is going to explain where your color is at up here. Obviously, I'm a yellow color because I have an extensive background, right? So this is what Douglas Hanson is doing. But the one thing that I would tell prosecutors in all of this is that if you haven't fully charged the person with a charge that you claiming that they're going to end up getting, you can't use that as part of this grid. You can't go and say that the person is a when he haven't yet received the sentence in order to become an A. So what I'm saying is Douglas Hanson only could have gone off of my prior convictions. So what we do to orchestrate this is that we go back to his indictment paperwork right here real quick, and I want to give it a little. We go to his indictment paperwork because obviously I got it stacked, right? Agreed to allow defendant to have contact with Jessica Johnson and his children. Well, who did I commit the crime on? You said that I committed the crime on Jessica, and not only that, you put in DHS reports. So what we want to get to is this big old fancy word where it says judgment, and what we're looking for is the explainment of the criminal grid. Defendant appeared in person and was not in custody. Obviously, never was in custody. Well, I did 22 days. So, give me my money for the wrongful conviction. I got such a big case. The court determined that the defendant was indigent for the purpose of court-appointed counsel and a court-appointed counsel for the defendant. The defendant was represented by and through Attorney Gail Ryder, her Oregon State bar number. Again, and this is one of them things that we talk about here. Is when you see plaintiff, that means the attorney for the state, appear by and through Attorney Douglas Christopher Hanson, not Julian Fisher. So when you see that the leading attorney, it's just all lies. It's all bullcrap lies, because Julian Fisher was not in a part of my case. She was in and out of it. She was basically tag teaming me for Douglas Hanson, and they did such a good job. But the job that they did is done, and now it's my turn to put forth the truth. Hey, this ain't no evidence. This is cold-hearted facts. This is what they did. They said that Julian Fisher is the one that prosecuted the case. And that reminds me, and I play this video only because I want to bust this whole thing up that Douglas Hanson shouldn't have never prosecuted my case if he claimed that he charged my wife with the prostitution citation, which she appeared 30 days after on, right? They all caught up, all of them. Douglas Hanson never told these people about me. He never did. He never told them how much I pay attention.
So Douglas Hanson was the only district attorney that prosecuted my case, and there's a different district attorney for my husband?
That is correct.
And what's the name of his district attorney again?
For who?
My husband.
Okay, you can call us. You know what? There's no need for you to be calling us. You can contact the court.
When you trying to show your proof and you want people to understand that you've been innocent and that you've been wrongfully convicted and all that, you have to go on the edge. You have to do what you have to do within not threatening them, but because that's what they look for. They look for error in what you're doing, so that way they can cover what they done, right? So listen to this.
Yes.
The case was assigned to Jillian Fisher.
You said what?
That case is assigned to Jillian Fisher.
So if the case is assigned to Julian Fisher, Doug, how are you taking credit for it in the judgment? Is people not reading between these lines? Have people not seen the truth? Do people not know what the truth look like? I can tell that people is used to the corruption of this man, and he needs to be stopped. He needs to be stopped. So what we do is we go down here. You never ever drop any charges to get me to take a charge. That's how the negotiation works. What am I getting out of the deal? You use my family, my wife, and my children for leverage. That's what you did. And that's called coercion. That you can't take somebody's family and say the only way you get off of this is if you accept the deal, and if you don't accept the deal, you can't see your wife and your kids. That is illegal, man. That's hateful, and that's what he did. So in this thing right here, in this, for one, I never seen a 7-type judgment. I never seen a 7-page judgment. I never seen this. And the reason why Douglas Hanson did this to me is because he, and again, what I'm showing you guys is the actual e-court paperwork, and I want to stay on tune with this, the dates, So here we go. What we got to do right here is look at the bottom. Leave your mom alone. What we got to do is look at the bottom right here where it says 7/9/2015. And we got to come over here and we find 7/9/2015. Actually, my case is closed. But you will see where it says disposition 7/9/2013. And they wrote convicted, right? On the judgment. It's funny what these people was doing. So what we want to do is find what I want to find is, all right, here it goes. Sentencing guidelines. The crime severity, right? 8B. CSC on count 1 is an 8 in the criminal history classification. That's what CSC is. Criminal history classification is a B. Shut up, man. It says the court finds substantial and compelling reasons for a downward dispositional departure as stated on record. The departure is pursuant to the following aggravating or mitigating factors. You see, he couldn't put none. He couldn't put no mitigating or aggregating factors in it, so he said stipulated by parties when he knowingly knew that I was not stipulating to any of Douglas Hanson's bullcrap. I want people to understand that this man has been the devil's advocate for a very long time here. We're breaking this down. So you see that they said that go upstairs now with that. Go to your room. You got a whole room. Sorry, my kids do that on purpose because I be recording. So what we want to do is I want to click on this real quick. And I want to get back here. He said I was an 8B. So one more strike for me and I'm done. But the criminal history includes 2-person felonies and any combination of adult convictions or adjudication. What she talking about my what she talking about my unlawful delivery charge and my robbery charge, my Measure 11 robbery charge. Then he said I'm an 8B, 35 to 40 months. So what we're looking for is the paperwork adding up 35 to 40 months, right? And you see the mitigating and litigating factors. He basically threw the book at me. All these little black dots is supposed to have a code by them, right? And I'm like, where did this prosecutor Douglas Hanson get all these penal codes from? Where was he? He cannot physically put me on all of this. Well, yes, he did. How did I figure that out? How did I figure out that his paperwork don't add up? Douglas Hanson can try to go and cover this up and say, oh crap, Matthew know this, Matthew know this. He talking about that. But what I want people to understand with me is Douglas Hanson threw all these packets at me. There was no way. Like I told Paul Lively and Stephanie Allen, the way that Douglas Hanson orchestrated this judgment, I can't even look at you wrong. I can't even say achoo without being violated. He put DV bench probation package on me, and you will see, and in these things right here, you'll see that they on the actual judgment. Marion County Circuit Court probation packets. The probation packet, he put a DV and PP post prison bench probation packet on me when I never went to court, when I never went to DOC. He put that packet on me, right? He then went in to put in a DV supervised probation packet on me. That's because I have Stephanie Allen and Paul Lively. And what we do, and what I'm doing is finding these penal codes. And I'm saying, I'm trying to see exactly what packet did this man give me. If I have a domestic violence, then why would you put me back with the person? That's cruel and unusual punishment. You thought you tried to take advantage of the fact that my post-traumatic stress and me stressed out over this case that I will actually commit a crime towards my wife. But this is actually my wife. And by the way, Doug, we're having another baby. So I hope you know that. You watch us. So thank you guys for watching this. I'm going to end it right here. I think I went far enough. So thank you guys.